Hi everyone, today I'm going to ask Scott Dinsmore, the founder of Live Your Legend and the creator of Your Passion course and the How to Connect with Anyone course, about his mission and how to connect with anyone, and also how to do what we love. You inspired me a lot, I have to say, when I was looking for my answers to find out about my passion, and I'm writing a blog on the topic, and I also write articles for a Hungarian psychology website, and I think people in Hungary should learn about your work. So,
well, thank you. It's an honor to be here. This is fun.
Could you tell us about your mission?
Yeah, I mean, let's see. It's a big question. I mean, really, I think my mission is to help people. Let's see. If I were to put it in one word, it's to explore. To help people explore themselves, to run experiments, to see what excites them, and also to do that for myself, because I'm constantly learning what excites me, how I like to help people, and I think it's a constant process, which is the fun thing. And so at Live Your Legend, our goal is to help people find and do work they love, and really by showing them how to surround themselves with the people who make it possible, and really focus on the kind of work that has an impact. I believe that most people, really everyone who is really fulfilled in the work they do, they believe that they're really helping someone or something, and they're helping the world in some way. And that doesn't have to be being like Gandhi or some huge transformational person or world leader. It could be something very simple and very small, as long as it's meaningful to you and leverages your talents, your strengths, your passions, and helps people in a meaningful way. And so that's what we're trying to do. That's the community at Live Your Legend. That's how we're trying to help people.
Oh, and how did you discover what you're good at, what you like doing?
Yeah, that was an evolution, and I'm still discovering it more and more every day. And I'll have to tell you about kind of what some of the recent discoveries have been. But in the beginning, I had a job that I didn't like at all. I thought I was with a big corporation in San Francisco in California, and I was something I was supposed to be proud of. And when I got to work, I just realized I was just totally miserable. It was just wasn't using who I was. I wasn't using my talents, my passions, my strengths, things like that. And I just felt like I wasn't very useful. And also it wasn't very useful for the company. They were paying me, and I was only spending 20% of my time actually doing the work. So there wasn't much to do. So I quit and went on this journey to figure out, like, what went wrong? Why do so many people hate or despise the work they do? I think something like 75% or 80% of people are disengaged or unhappy with their work, and trying to figure out what are those other 20%? What do they do differently? And how are they so excited and engaged and passionate about what they do? And so I started to talk with those people and did a bunch of interviewing, and also did a lot of work on myself. I read a lot of books and talked with coaches, worked with career coaches and counselors, all these different things to try and help it out just for myself. It started out me being selfish. Just I wanted to find work that excited me. And eventually I ended up finding some really neat things to work on with some different friends, and it started out in preventive healthcare with a startup a friend had, and then I ended up becoming Live Your Legend and some other things that I now work on. But what really happened was people started to ask for help. They noticed, they said, Scott, you've been doing this work on yourself, and you seem really excited about this topic of careers. Could we have lunch together? And at that point, I'd have to warn people, because my quit rate was 80%. Of the people I would sit and have lunch with, 80% would quit their job within like 3 months of us sitting down together. And it wasn't because I did anything too special. I mainly just asked people, why are you doing what you're doing? And they'd usually say, well, because I'm supposed to, right? And I would just try and help them understand that there's different path you can take if you understand who you are. And so those meetings, just one-on-one interactions, those lunches with friends and friends of friends, led into more of my writing and work, and then eventually, put it on the web, on a website, and then ended up launching that into Live Your Legend and what it has become today. And then that led into different courses and things. And if you follow this path of discovery, this path of experimentation, that's how I see everything. As you're always experimenting. Either life is one big experiment, or it's a series of really small ones. And you're constantly kind of learning, and you're moving back and forth, left and right, kind of like a sailboat would do. And as you stumble upon things that excite you, you pursue them. And so as long as you're spending time today doing things that are engaging to you and exciting, I think that is a life well lived, and that will compound and grow into bigger things and more meaningful things in the future.
What are the things that you're passionate about?
Well, there's a lot of things. Right now I'm up in Lake Tahoe, this great spot, this lake kind of 4 hours from San Francisco. Actually, I don't know if you'll show the video or not on your site, but I have a view out here, and you can see kind of the lake, and it's really fun. So I like adventure, I like being outdoors and exploring. I'm going to go on a long run tomorrow. I'm training for a 50-mile foot race, so tomorrow I have a 15-mile run to train for it. But those are personal hobbies and passions. We love traveling. My wife and I are always exploring. I just got back from Russia last week, and I was fishing with my father out there. And then when it comes to work passions, I mean, obviously helping people find that impact and do work that matters to them. But also what's come up is something more specific, is the idea of surroundings and surrounding yourself with the people that make all of this possible. Because I believe that no one does anything on their own, not even close. And no matter who it is, you know, whether it's Gandhi or it's Steve Jobs or any of these people who have made a really big impact, there's always an army of people who support them. And especially when you're doing things that are unconventional and go against the status quo, you get you can be told by a lot of people that you're stupid for trying, like, what are you thinking? Why are you doing things differently? And when you're making that transition, if you have a bunch of people around you who tell you you can't do it, you're probably going to start to believe them and either give up or never try in the first place. But if you're surrounded by people who are doing the crazy things, who are the ones pursuing these different projects and ideas and exciting, passionate pieces of work and making a difference, it's going to seem normal. And so I call it brainwashing the impossible. The fastest way to do the things you don't think can be done are to hang around the people already doing them. And it goes back to that Jim Rohn quote, which I'm sure you've seen me post on Live Your Legend. It's, you're the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. And it's wild how simple that is and how unbelievably powerful it is in terms of any type of personal change. You want to lose 50 pounds, you want to run a marathon, you want to change your job. I don't care. The first thing to do is to work on your surroundings and environment. And so it was funny because I stumbled upon that just kind of coincidentally. I mean, I've always enjoyed meeting people and learning about them and interacting and all of that. But at Live Your Legend, I was focused all on the tools to help people, like to the specific nuts and bolts of how do you find what you're passionate about, how do you build a career around it and that stuff, which is very important and useful and makes a difference, but it's worthless if people aren't going to use it. And it's worthless if the people around them are telling them they're stupid for trying it. So many people at Live Your Legend started to ask me, like, Scott, I don't have anyone who supports me. How do I find and meet those people? And over time, I realized, whoa, this is a big thing that I missed here in terms of how we can help people in our community. And so that's where, I know you mentioned in the beginning, our Connect with Anyone course, and that's where our whole concept of how to connect with anyone and our philosophy of surroundings has become just a core part of just my own passionate work, but also just the impact we're trying to make. So I guess that's kind of an example of how you start in one place and you can move. It's almost like you think 180 degrees differently to talking about relationships and connections, even though I think that's the foundation of everything. But you have to be open to kind of exploring that, because a year ago, none of this existed. This whole topic of connections with Live Your Legend didn't exist. But actually, 3 weeks from now, in September, a year ago during that time, is when I was up in the same place at the lake building the Connect with Anyone course. And I only built it because people asked me for help on it. And I just kind of followed that interest. So it's a fun experiment, as always.
And who were the people that inspired you the most?
Well, let's see. I mean, it starts with my first and best surroundings were my parents. I mean, they've been awesome. They've always suggested to ask why not and to explore just doing things differently and to be okay with me taking a different path and saying, hey, what's the worst that could happen? And so that added a lot, and I admire them in a lot of ways. I mean, they've taught me a lot about people and business and just what can be possible. And so that I'm extremely grateful. That's where it started. And then over time, one of the biggest sources of inspiration has been the community at Live Your Legend, because those are the people who really teach me the most about how I can help them and how I can help people and what I understand most and how I can relate it to others. I mean, a lot of us think we can help people in different ways or think we know certain things that we can offer. But really, we don't have any of the answers. The only people who know the answers are the people who you can potentially help. And so that's another reason why these communities online and blogs and these websites are so powerful for interacting with people and learning what they need before you actually go out and offer it. So the community is big. And then, of course, I mean, my wife, Chelsea, who's up here with me this weekend, we just celebrated a 3-year anniversary. And she's always been my chief balance officer. So she's been powerful for that stuff. And then there's a couple people online, well, and just in the real world. Leo Babauta of Zen Habits has been huge. He's become a very close friend in San Francisco and has had a lot to do with how things have been created at Live Your Legend and just in life in general. And Corbett Barr of Think Traffic and Fizzle, also a really good friend. He's the one who helped me create Live Your Legend in terms of technology and everything like that and the business model. And there's Chris Gillibo and some of these other folks that they just have blazed a really nice path of creating a genuine business around helping people in a meaningful way. So the list could go on, but that's a start.
What are the biggest obstacles in finding and doing the work you love, in your opinion, in general for people?
Yeah, the biggest obstacles, well, the first one is believing that it's possible, I think. That is what holds a lot of people back. And if you don't think something can be done, then you're never going to try it. It's like the 4-minute mile with Roger Bannister. The world believed that it was physiologically impossible to run a mile in under 4 minutes, and they just thought the body wasn't capable of it. And then one day, Roger Bannister went out and ran a mile in like 3 minutes and 59 seconds and change. And I think that was in like the mid 1950s. And after that, like 15 people broke the 4-minute mile in a matter of like a year or two. And it just shows you that most things that we believe can't be done are just limits in our own head. And so that's where the people and surroundings come in. If you don't think something can be done, go find the people who are doing it, read the books, watch TED Talks, just scour the internet for different resources. There's so many available that most of them are totally for free. And you can make dramatic progress doing that. So that's the first mission at Live Your Legend, I believe, is to show people that it's possible, to inspire possibility. And we profile people all the time who have done interesting things and who just normal everyday folks and that have done inspiring things to show you what can be done. And then and really having a path. The next thing is really having a path to follow. And it's really daunting to kind of figure out what to do. Like where do you even start with all this stuff, to make a change, to build something. And so that's where the idea of modeling comes in and mentorship as well. But I see modeling and mentoring as being a little bit different. I mean, with modeling, I'm talking about finding someone who has done what you want to do or has done something similar in a different area of business, different space, and deconstruct how they've done it. And whereas a lot of people will look at successful people and say, "Oh, I want to do what he's done. I want to build what he's built." Let's say, for instance, Tim Ferriss is a good example because he's pretty well known. He wrote the 4-Hour Work Week and pretty famous guy. And if you said, "Oh, I want to do what Tim's done," well, you certainly wouldn't start acting like Tim acts right now. You would go and figure out what did he do to get there. And it didn't start with a 4-hour work week. And it isn't a 4-hour work week now. He works a lot, but it's work that he enjoys, so he doesn't call it work, and that's great. But in the beginning, like people work, the way they approach creating something and building something is different than, let's say, when they're at the top of their game and they're the most successful guy in the industry or whatever it is. So modeling is really important, to find that person that you really respect and admire and then understand how they got there. How did they act? What did they do to get to that point? And in terms of obstacles, there can be a lot of different ones that come up, but if you handle the surroundings thing in a really powerful way, then usually most obstacles can be handled through the people you've put in your corner and the people around you.
Mm-hmm. And what changed when you first launched your other website, Reading for Your Success, and compared to Live Your Legend? So what kind of beliefs did you have and you don't have anymore? And like that.
Do you mean when Reading for Your Success became Live Your Legend, or when Reading for Your Success first launched?
Compared to when you first launched Reading for Your Success and
Got
when
it.
you
Okay.
launched Live Your Legend.
Yeah, great
what's
question.
the difference that you believe about life?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, great question. Reading for Your Success was my first experiment online, and I had read a book, it's like 6 or 7 years ago now, and I remember I actually read it while I was, again, up here where I am right now, and it said you could start a website without knowing code, and so I don't know code, and so I created a website, and I was called Reading for Your Success, and I said, I'm going to write book reviews and recommendations on personal development books. I just thought it would be fun. I was reading a lot, and I wanted to share what I've been learning, and I also wanted to try out this idea of could you build a website without knowing anything about HTML or code. And I built it, and it was awesome. It was live for the world to see. Not much of the world saw it, but just because it wasn't very popular. But I was proud of it. I mean, if you look back on it now, it's embarrassing to look at the design and everything. But what was cool is that I think for 2 years I had Reading for Your Success, and it was a fantastic way for me to learn about things online and how to test things out. It was just a great source of experiments, and in itself was a big experiment just to see what could be done, and also it allowed me to write and to just get used to writing and to see what that felt like, and it was really engaging, and it gave me a chance to share what I was learning with other people. And this is a huge reason why I think blogs are so incredibly powerful, is they just allow you to showcase your passions and interests and show them to other people and let them experience them. And this is exactly how it happened with me. Reading for Success, over time, more and more people were interested in the career topic. And so I started to focus a little bit more on that. And then I got to the point where actually Reading for Success didn't really grow at all for, how long did I guess I had it for a total of, it was 4 years.
4 years you wrote.
Yeah, and so it's crazy it was that long. And it just went nowhere. Like there was 0% growth. And I knew nobody else on the internet, no one else who had online businesses. I didn't even know it was a blog. I guess it was a blog. But I was frustrated and I was going to shut it down. And right about then is when I moved to San Francisco and started to meet some people in town who had these unbelievable businesses. They had, one of them was Leo from Zen Habits, who has a family of 8 and supports them all with his blog. And he has this business that helps people in a meaningful way, doing things that he really cares about. And Corbett Barrow's another one. There were dozens of others that had built businesses around things that they really cared about and helped people in meaningful ways. And so this inspired me and made me decide, instead of shutting Reading for Success down, I want to take it really seriously. I'm going to do whatever I can to make this thing grow. And I had seen a path that people had followed through these people I'd met, both on the internet and in person. And that's when I decided to then rebrand it into Live Your Legend, because I realized I want to focus purely on really how to have an impact and how to find and do work you love. And so it wasn't as much about book reviews at all. So I switched from Reading for Success to Live Your Legend, which is based off of The Alchemist, the book by Paulo Coelho, which is a fantastic book. If anyone hasn't read it, is listening, I read it every year pretty much when I go on an international trip. And it's about someone pursuing their personal legend, their mission in life. And so Live Your Legend is just based on that. But when I launched it, it totally changed my game and my approach and my focus on what I was working on. And people could see it too. They saw that, okay, instead of just writing book reviews or something like I'd been doing before, like this was a very specific way I was trying to help people. And that's crucial if you're going to build a business around anything. It needs to be very obvious and very specific how you're trying to add value to people's lives. And that took me a number of years to learn, but once I did, it made a dramatic difference, because after launching Live Your Legend, I think, and switching from Reading for Your Success, within 6 months it grew by like 10x, and then another 12 months it grew by like 160x, and then today, I'm not sure where it is now, but I mean, it's continued on that path of growing and helping people. And I don't believe any of that would have happened if, one, I didn't meet the people I did and learn what was possible and have them kind of show me a path, and also focus on a specific way of helping people. And so that was kind of the evolution. And it's still evolving for sure. And I'm sure if we talk in 3 or 4 or 5 years, it'll be different than it is now, but that's the fun of it, you know. And I'm sure it'll still leverage what I'm excited about and how I can help people, but maybe it will be like now it's a lot more focused on community and connections and not just on passionate work. You know, it's this whole bundle core group of things, which I call it the passionate work framework. There's three things that I've found that are consistent with people who are able to find and do work they love and make a difference. And one is self-discovery, understanding who you are, and then doing the impossible, doing the things you don't think can be done, and then surrounding yourself with the people that make that possible. And so it's those three things, and I think if you focus on those, you can see a dramatic transformation. That's just really what everything for us comes back to, are those three items.
So you would suggest to people who, for example, have a job and don't like it, but it's hard to find another one, to focus on other people who already reached what they want. And what about those who have a job, they love it, but it doesn't pay well? What do you suggest to them?
Yeah, I like that question. I haven't heard that one a lot. Well, first of all, congrats. They have the job that they love. So what's nice about that is that means you know a lot about yourself and a lot about what you enjoy. And so if you have something that you really like, it doesn't pay as well, think about what do you like about it? What's so great? Is it the people? Is it the nature of the work? Are you using talents that you're really good at? And really spend some time digging into that and understanding every bit about what you like about it. And if there's things you don't like about it, make sure you think about those as well. And if it doesn't pay well, now paying well is an arbitrary term. It kind of obviously depends on what your relative thoughts are on pay and levels of salary and things. But if you just decide you want to be better compensated for it, what you can do is start by, once you understand what you really like about it and really where you're adding value, maybe you can find things within that career, that job, the business you're working with, and the people you're working with, where you can better apply that stuff you're good at in a more, in a more powerful way that is directly related to, let's say, that business or company making more money. Because really the best way to increase your salary and your pay is to do something to make more money for the business you're working with. You know, I mean, the only way that I can increase my own salary at Live Your Legend is to figure out a way to offer more value and to the community and have maybe a product or a course that brings more money. And same thing with a big company. If you can directly relate your skill and value to making money for the company, that's a powerful way inside the company. But also, if you know, again, what it is that you're good at, what you like, based on just your experience with this job, then how could you apply that outside of that company? Maybe there's some freelance work you can do, or there's some people you can work with, there's some one-on-one work you could start out doing. There's all kinds of possibilities. You know, if like you're not getting paid well and you're a graphic designer, well, go on Elance and post some jobs, or try and help some people in your community and get some hourly work going. There's a lot of ways to supplement that once you know what it is, what value you add to others.
And what do you think about success? What does it mean to you?
Say that again?
Success. What do you think about success?
Success. I think the definition of success is really what can either propel someone forward or totally hold them back. And I think that goes well with your last question about money, because at Live Your Legend we have what I call a compass, which is there's 4 ends to a compass, and on one part of the compass is your values and strengths, your unique, or what you value in the world, so your personal values, and then things that you don't value as well. That's one part of it. What are your experiences? What do you love? What do you hate? And then another part of the compass is what are your unique strengths and talents, and also what are your weaknesses? And then really I think the true north of it is when you put all those together, what is your definition of success? What does it mean to you? And so my definition is going to be different than yours, going to be different to everyone else's. But what's tough is that most people have a definition of success that has just been brainwashed to them. It's kind of society's definition of the status and the money and that kind of thing. And so you'll find yourself working up this ladder that is either leaned up against the wrong wall or it's leaned up against no wall at all because you didn't define what mattered to you. And so to me, success is really spending your time doing things that I care about and helping people in a meaningful way and surrounding myself with people who really inspire me and make me happy. And so there's different ways to measure that, but I've learned that the success definitely is not primarily measured by money or by some job title or something like that. And I remember that used to be the big thing. I used to kind of, when I was looking for jobs, I'd be like, well, how much does this one pay? And you realize that when you find a job that you really care about, you care a lot less about the money. Obviously, money is important to provide for your family and all that, but you don't necessarily need nearly as much as you probably think, and you're not going to be so focused on the money, because if you have a job you hate, the only redeeming piece of it is that you make good money, and that's the only benefit. So success, so figure out what it means to you, just to you, and I think that will help you make a lot of decisions as you kind of go through the path.
And what do you believe in that you think you got you so far? I mean, you emphasize that environment is everything, to have the right people around you, but what else do you think is crucial?
Yeah, I mean, I really think that had so much to do with it, because I just had no idea what I was doing before and what could have been done, what could have been possible. And something other than environment, though, what was it? I mean, a deep just desire to learn and to try things out and to constantly experiment with things. I mean, I'm always trying to read new things and also watch TED Talks, things like that, to just see what inspires me and what's interesting, and then follow that and keep track of that. And then, again, just be around the people who do the same thing, and it gets to be pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. And your course about how to connect with anyone will open soon, right? Yeah?
Yeah, it does. I'm actually up here working on the last details of it. It's our third time opening it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do things a little bit differently this time. And we open it just to a small group of people each time to keep it intimate and useful. And we're going to open it, I think it's going to be September 3rd or 4th, and we're going to have a lot of fun. It'll be neat. We'll open it for a few days to the first group of people.
What is the biggest power or highlight of it?
It's hard to say. I mean, it's a big course. We have a lot of stuff in there. But one thing I love is that we hand-place people in their own mastermind and accountability groups based on where people live around the world, what their goals are, what their passions are, and their talents and strengths. And we hand-place them. I have someone who's what I call a mastermind maven, Liz Seda, who I work with, and she's been awesome. She's a member of our community, and we'll place people based on all these different characteristics. And so from day one, you're connecting with people and you're making progress. And then we have a series of modules, and we cover everything from how to build your in-person community in your hometown to how to befriend really successful people and how to help them and how to negotiate. I mean, we cover all kinds of stuff. It's a lot of fun.
So I don't want to use up any more of your time. Just one more question about what big plans do you have for the future?
Big plans. I mean, really, what we just talked about. I think we've.
That's pretty big too. Yeah.
And no, just to grow that out and to impact more people with those same things. And I'm sure it'll be different in the future. But right now, it's really a focus on the connections and community, and also in-person communities. And we're starting to do in-person events all over the world that are run by members of the community, not run by me. So we had one in London last week, one in Minneapolis, one in New York and Australia. It's pretty fun, and so that's where things start to get really powerful for all of the members, is that if in your hometown you have people who you can surround yourself with and they can support you. And so hopefully you'll want to do that out your way whenever you're ready. It'll be fun. I know we have some people out all over Europe, and we have a lot of fun with it. So that's the big focus, is the connection and community stuff.
Is there a way I could translate your free materials or a few of your blog posts into Hungarian? I just wanted to ask that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy for you to do it. I obviously don't. You're the expert there in terms of the
I would love
translation,
to do that.
but
I just wanted to ask
that's
if it's
very
okay.
cool. Thank you. And we've had some people ask about translations before, and it's a big project in terms of how to really manage it properly. But we've had some people do that in English to Spanish and to a couple other languages. So absolutely, that'd be awesome. Thank you for the offer.
So there's no Hungarian version yet.
There's no Hungarian version.
Okay, okay. Then thank you for your answers and for your time. This was really, really great. And I hope that more and more people will do what they love and join you to be a part of a world like that. And I'm certainly one of them. So thank you
Well,
so
thank
much.
you. It means more than you realize, and it's fun to have you a part of it. And I'm glad we got a chance to do this. I love it.
Thanks.
All right. Well, have a good one.
Bye bye.
Bye.